Hello everybody and welcome to our Luau summer camp. My name is Allison and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this super awesome pineapple lantern. And we're gonna see if we can paint him like SpongeBob's house, or you can just leave him just like a regular pineapple. It's up to you. But we're gonna go ahead and paint this guy. So to get started, you're gonna need your pineapple lantern here, and then you're going to need a palette, some paint brushes, a sponge, and some water. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our pineapple and we're gonna take our color number 21. It's gonna be your light yellow that you have. You're gonna go ahead and paint the pineapple all yellow. We don't want to paint the top where the leaves are, just the pineapple. We're going to paint the whole pineapple this color. And so what we're doing with this pineapple is called our sponge off technique. So what we're doing is we're painting this all light yellow, and then we're going to go in with a dark yellow afterwards. And we are going to put that all over the pineapple. Then we're going to take our sponge and get it nice and wet. And we are going to wipe off some of the dark yellow. So that way you see the light yellow, but then you see the dark yellow in all the little creases in your pineapple. So all those little lines, you'll see the dark yellow. So it's going to be super cool. It's going to look like our example here. Let me show you what it will look like after. So you can see that there's the dark yellow in the cracks, but the surface is that light yellow. That's what we're going for. So I'm going to paint the whole thing yellow. Now usually we say that you should paint 3 layers of paint on everything. But for our pineapple, if we're doing the sponge off technique, we only really need to do it 2 times for our light color. So I did my pineapple here, and what we're going to do is we're going to let this dry before we go in with our dark yellow. So you can see here that my pineapple is still shiny right here. And then in some parts, it's not shiny anymore, like right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait until the entire pineapple is not shiny anymore, and then we're going to do our second layer of yellow. So I'm going to wait till all of this is not shiny, and then I'm going to put my second layer of yellow on, and then I will be right back. Alright, so now that there's no more shiny on my pineapple, that it's all matte, so not shiny, I'm going to take my brush again, and I'm going to take my dark yellow color, and I'm going to paint 1 coat all over my pineapple. If you are a thin painter, which means that once you've painted your dark yellow on top, you still see a lot of the light yellow underneath, you might want to do 2 coats of the dark yellow. But you can see I'm getting pretty good coverage on there, so you can't see any of the light yellow underneath. That's what you want. You want to be able to see just the dark yellow and no light yellow underneath. But don't worry, that we'll go through with our sponge and we will wipe a lot of this dark yellow off so we can see the light yellow. But you guys feel free to check out our other videos on for the Luau summer camp, that we will have all of the videos up for everything that's in your kit. So you'll be able to paint with me with our ceramic and our craft and our canvas, and we'll do our clay. It's going to be super fun. So I hope to see you guys in our other videos. So I am all done painting this pineapple, all of that dark yellow. And so you can see on this plug right here that there's paint over the hole. What you can do is you can just blow on it, and you can see that opened it right up. So if you see any of those, like here's another one here, I'm just gonna blow, just like I'm blowing a bubble with a bubble wand, and then those holes will open up. But yeah, so I'm gonna let this dry. We wanna make sure that this is not shiny anymore and that it's all not shiny, and then we'll go on to our next step. Okay, so my pineapple is not shiny anymore. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sponge and I'm gonna dunk it in the water and push it down to the bottom, and while it's under the water, I'm gonna squeeze it to get all of the air out of it. And you can tell that you did that because it'll start sinking to the bottom. But now your sponge is really wet. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna squeeze it. So that way it's damp, but it's not super wet and it's not dry. So you're gonna take your damp sponge and you're gonna wipe at your piece very gently at first so till you get the hang of it. And then you see, kind of like magic, that we see that light yellow underneath. And you can rinse off your sponge by submerging it in your water and squeezing it just like we did. And you can keep going and you can wipe off a lot of that dark yellow to reveal the light yellow, but that dark yellow will stay in the creases and everything. So it's pretty awesome. So I'm just gonna go around my pineapple and gently wipe at it. Like I said, you can do it a little harder once you get the hang of it, but you just want to be really gentle at first because you don't want to wipe away all of your dark yellow. I'm gonna go around my pineapple. I'm gonna wipe off all of the dark yellow where I want that light yellow to show, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I wiped off on my pineapple all the way around my pineapple. So as I let this dry, I'm going to take our color number 29. I'm going to pour some in my palette. And then I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to start painting the little leaves on top of our pineapple. So I'm going to paint all of this in that green color. Now what you want to do is you want to paint 3 coats or layers of paint. So you're going to paint it once and then let it dry so it's not shiny anymore like we talked about. Then we're going to do another coat on top and then one more coat of the green on top of that. Because if we do 1 layer or 2 layers of the green, we'll see all of our little brush strokes and everything. But the 3 layers will give you that solid color like we see on the top of this pineapple that's all finished. So I'm going to go ahead and paint 3 layers of green all over my pineapple, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did my 3 coats of green up top. It is still a little wet, as you can see it's a little shiny, but we can move on. First of all, I just want to say that if you like this look and you don't want to do SpongeBob's house, you don't have to. You can just leave it just like this and you're all finished. You can sign the bottom if you want, but you can be all finished here if you don't want to paint SpongeBob's house. But from here on to the end of the video, I'll be teaching you how to make it look like SpongeBob's house, like this one. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take the front of the lantern. I know it's the front because I have my fingers back here in the hole. So the front of the lantern, we're going to turn this hole into his door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab color number 93 here. Pour some in my palette. I'm also going to take some color number 64. I'm going to pour some of that in my palette. And then I'm going to take one of my small detail brushes and I'm going to go ahead and start painting his house. What you can do is you can either freehand it like I'm about to do, or what you can do is you can grab a washable marker. You don't want to grab a permanent marker, but a washable marker, and you can kind of sketch out where you want everything. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and just go for it. So like I talked about, this is going to be his door, this little circle right here. So I'm just going to mark where his door is going to be. I'm going to kind of draw out with my brush a half circle for his door here. Just like that. Now mine is going to look a little bit different than the example because every time you paint something, it's going to be a little bit different. So don't worry about if yours looks exactly like mine or exactly like the examples. It's all going to look a little bit different. I know for this one, I wanted to paint his door just a little bit bigger, just so it's more of an accent. So when you look at it from far away, you can really tell it's SpongeBob's house. So my door is going to be just a little bit bigger than this door here. But like I said, it's your art, and so whatever you want to do, you can do. I decided I want a big door. I'm going to rinse my little brush off over here in some water, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start on the windows. And so I'm going to grab some of that blue. I'm going to leave a bunch of space. You don't want to put your blue too next to the door because we're going to do that gray rim around it. So I'm going to put my window like all the way over here. I'm just going to grab that blue and paint a circle for a window over here. And like I said, if you don't want to freehand it like I'm doing, you can grab a marker or a pencil even and kind of plan out what you want to do. I'll do a window over there, and then I'll do a window over here. A little bit of a smaller window over here. Perfect. And then I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to do 3 coats on there. So I'll be right back after I do 3 coats on the blue and 3 coats on the gray. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I did my 3 coats of my blue on there. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my little detail brush. I'm going to rinse some of that blue off of there. And then I'm going to take that light gray. I'm going to carefully outline that blue and some gray. And again, you're going to want to do 3 layers of everything. So if you need to take a break, you can always take a break, go have a snack, or go outside and play for a little bit, and then come back if you need to. If you feel like you're starting to get a little bored, or you feel like it's taking a while or something, you can always go take a break and come back, because I know sometimes it's hard to put 3 layers of everything and just let it dry. So feel free to take a break if you need to. I'm just going to put some gray around these windows. I'm going to do 3 coats of that, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I got my 3 coats on the windows with the gray and the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the details on the door a little bit. So I'm going to grab color number 44 here. And my tiny little detail brush. If you don't have a tiny little detail brush at home, what you can do is you can just use the back of a brush with the details. It works great for that as well. But I'm going to dip into my paint, and I'm going to start with the door. I'm just going to outline the door with the dark gray. Just like that. Just like that. And if you need some help with the details, you can always ask a grown-up if they will help you. I'm just going to outline the door in the dark gray. Just like that. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be outlined. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just like that. And then I'm going to go inside of that arch a little bit. Do another line just right next to that dark gray. Oh, I touched over here a little bit. I'm just going to draw a line just right on the inside of that. Like I said, you can always ask an adult for help if you need help. And if you're getting a little frustrated, you can take a little break. Sometimes the details are a little hard. We're going to go ahead and just paint that. And if you put it on nice and thick like I am, then you won't need to do 3 layers on your really tiny little details. It'll still look pretty good. Just on your little tiny details. And then we're going to add one more line to the inside of the door, because that's what SpongeBob has. There's 3 lines on his door. And like I talked about, if you don't have a tiny little brush, you can just use the back of your brush like this. So you're going to dip it in there. You want to be careful. But then you can gently use the back of your brush for fine little details like that. Then we're going to take the little brush and we're going to do his little flower that's like by his door. Yes, and do little like arches, like rainbows, all the way around. So it looks like his door. Just like that. Perfect. And then to finish it off, we're going to take the back of our brush, we're going to dip it in the paint, and we're going to stamp little polka dots on the outside of his door. Just like that. All the way around the arch. Doesn't need to be perfect, because you'll be able to tell whose door it is. He has a pretty awesome house. I always wanted to live in his house. I thought that would be really cool, because I really like pineapples. But now that we're done with that, we're going to take the same brush and we're going to outline the inside by this window here. We're going to outline the outside of it and then do the same thing with the polka dots on the windows. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. So I'll be right back after I do that. Alright, you guys, so we are all finished with our pineapple lantern here. It's going to look super cool after we fire it in the kiln. So you're going to let this dry, and then you're going to bring it back to Color Me Mine, and we are going to dip it in a clear glaze and fire it in the kiln. The kiln gets super hot. It gets to be about 2,000 degrees. So your piece is going to look like this before, then we're going to put it in the kiln, and then it's going to look like this after. So that's super exciting and everything. And then when you get it back, you can put a little tea light on the inside here, and then you can have a cool little lantern. But that's all for the SpongeBob house. If you have any questions, you can comment them down below, or you can call the studio with any questions you have. But you guys have a great rest of your day, and hope to see you on our other videos for our Luau camp. Bye!